Hello and welcome to our performance profile lesson. Now, this is one of my favorite exercises because it's so valuable for so many different athletes. So it's going to be a little bit harder to try and do this on a computer, but I'm going to try my best to try and explain it as much as possible. But when we have the performance profile, you'll need to download it, and you definitely will probably need to print this. It is made as a fillable PDF, but to use the bullseye there on the worksheet, you will need to print it off. So try and do a hard copy of this if you can. Not required, but it does make it a lot easier. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to come up with 12 factors that we think are really important to us as athletes. Now, this could be everything from relaxation, could be a certain skill in your sport. Everything in sport can get broken down into one of four categories. So we can have what are called the four pillars of performance. We have tactical skills, physical skills, mental skills, and technical skills. And so everything in any kind of sport can get broken down to one of those four categories. So if you get stuck trying to come up with one of the factors, then utilize the four pillars of performance to help come up with an idea. So the mental skills, if you go through the table of contents on the course here, there's tons of mental skills that you could record on there. It could be things like, if you're a hockey player, it could be stick handling or your skating. It could be your strength, your speed, flexibility, nutrition, hydration. It doesn't really matter what you put on there. It's just 12 things that we're going to keep track of over the next couple weeks. Now what's going to happen is you're going to fill in this form. So here's an example of a sheet that you can utilize. Let me just pull it up here. So here's one that is been filled out. And so what you're going to do with this is we've recorded 12 factors. You put the date for the week that you're doing this. We're going to do this once a week only. You don't have to do it any more often than that. And you're going to score it on a scale from 1 to 10. Now, 10 is going to be the best. 1 is going to be the worst. So again, that's 10 is the best. 1 is the worst. So for example, we have confidence. Right? So for confidence in the week, this athlete, on the first week, they scored themselves a 6. On the second week, they scored themselves a 7. So that means we've had an improvement on our confidence. And we would kind of do that throughout the whole month. Usually I would have athletes do this on a Monday or a Friday. So depending on the month, you may have 5 Mondays or 5 Fridays or 5 days of that particular week in a month, just the way the dates fall. Now, once you've recorded all 12 of your factors, we're now going to go to the bullseye here. So if you look, we have 12 factors, all right, and we have 12 pieces of pie. And each of these factors were scored on a scale from 1 to 10. Well, we have 10 rings. So we're going to go to confidence, which is number 1. We're going to go, okay, it's number 1 factor here. It's a 6. So we're going to use our marker, and we're going to go starting counting at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We put a little dot, if it'll work. There we go. All right. Then we're going to go to the next one, number 2, which was a 3. So we go from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're going to go to the 3. So we count again, 1, 2, 3. All right. Then we're going to go to the next one, which was a 7. So we know that this was a 6. We can go here and then just go up one more to the 7. And we're going to go all the way around. So I'm just going to do that here real quick here. 7. Then we had a 5. Then we had a 7 again. 7, 7. Then we had a 4, which is going to be right about here. Then we had a couple 5s. Then we had some 6s. And finally, we had another 7. And once we get all this done, because it's a little bit hard to see just with the dots, we want to go in there, and my pointer will work. We're going to go and connect the dots. And what you're going to get here, it doesn't have to be perfect, but what we're going to get is a graph. Now, the idea here is that we want to try and make this a nice round wheel. So imagine if that was the wheel, if that was the wheel of a bike or a car, that wouldn't roll very well. We definitely would not want that wheel. And as an athlete, we're not very balanced. So the next week, we just go in again, record the same numbers, trace it. Ideally, in a perfect scenario, our numbers are improving, so our graph will improve as it goes along. But that's not always the case. Some weeks you might actually find, even though you did all the skills, you might feel a little bit worse. That's okay. So as we go through with this, try and fill this on a weekly basis. You'll have to probably put a reminder in your calendar just to make sure you're following through with it. And you'll be amazed. As you start to see those improvements happening, you're probably going to feel a lot more confident. You're going to feel a lot more successful. Heck, you might even be having a lot more fun with training. But ultimately, you're becoming a better and stronger athlete, not just mentally, but physically, technically, and tactically as well.